When did Coach Staley start looking at you? When did you start like noticing her pop up at your court?
South Carolina honestly didn't start looking at me until my junior year. Like I had a lot of offers, but like I said, I was a homebody, so I was like, I never knew where I wanted to commit. I didn't really want to go to college. I wanted to go to college, but I didn't want to leave home. Coach McCray was actually the one that was scouting me and like found me and then told Coach Don about me. So that's how that started. And it was history ever since then.
You're winning games. You're like, okay, like we could really do something here. Like talk to me about what was going on in your head during that time.
I have never been a part of nothing that big and that crazy, honestly. Like, it was fun just being in the Final Four. I remember we were playing Stanford and we were losing majority of the game. And then, I think the end of the third to the fourth, we ended up turning the page and we won. And then, I'm sorry to say, Mississippi State, when y'all won that game, I'm like, oh, yeah, we're winning the national championship. I'm sorry.
Yes,
we're
literally.
Winning.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of The Coop, the show that celebrates the past and present sung and unsung legends of USC athletics. I'm your host, Olivia Thompson, and today I'm joined by a very legendary USC women's basketball player, a true point guard, a WNBA point guard for the Connecticut Sun, and my former teammate, Tyasha Harris. Ty, welcome.
What's up, Big Daddy-O? Do everybody know their name? Do everybody know your nickname?
No, they haven't. No, they don't know that nickname. That's the past. That's in the past. But I'm glad it's still alive and well. So how have you been doing?
I'm good. I mean, I'm in China right now, so we're about 13 hours difference. I just got done eating my dinner. I know I had to probably wake you up early for this, but good.
It's okay. Good. I'm used to it. My day job keeps me up early anyway, so this is nothing new. Nothing new.
Gotcha.
This is your first time in China, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. So talk to me a little bit about that and honestly, just the whole overseas experience, exploring and adjusting to different cultural differences. Talk to me about that a little bit.
Yeah, well, for me, it's hard because I'm a homebody. So I like to stay home. I don't like to explore. I don't like to try new things. But it's fun just to get out and explore just different, like you said, cultures, how people live, how they act, how they eat. I mean, I go to the grocery store and there's live crabs, fish with the head on, swimming still, and all the other stuff. But
that's crazy. It's crazy.
Funny. Yeah, it's funny just to see how other people live and stuff like that. But were you with us when we went to Japan?
I wasn't. That was the year before. That was the year before we got there. Yeah.
Okay.
I wish that would have been cool. But
it was cool.
Yeah.
I mean, but we was only there for a week. But here I'm now here for 5 months. So it's a little different.
Yeah, definitely a little different. So you said that you're a homebody. I'm also a homebody. So how do you balance the intense demands of a professional athlete lifestyle, especially being overseas, because it's a very quick transition, especially because of the success your WNBA team had. It's a quick transition from that season to going overseas. How do you balance the intense demands of that lifestyle with your personal life?
I mean, it's hard, but at the same time, it's sacrifices. I mean, you had to make sacrifices to get to USC. You had to make sacrifices to get to whatever goal you want to get in life. So you kind of just chuck it up to that. And I mean, I probably had 2 weeks. Most people have 10 days before they have to go after the WNBA season. Wow. So I was fortunate enough to have 2 weeks, and you kind of just take everything how it is. So when I was home, I was doing a lot of stuff every day, try to get everything in, trying to see everybody before I had to go. But I mean, you also have to thank God because, if it wasn't for basketball, I would never get to explore anything outside of America, outside of Indiana. So just take the blessing for what it is, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I hear that. It is a lot, but I mean, we're built for it from an early age. You know what I mean? You start playing basketball and you get into AAU and you're traveling around all the time. And this is on a larger scale, of course, but I mean, we're we're seasoned for this lifestyle at a
Very
very
much
early
so.
age. Yeah. So before we delve into your professional career a little bit more, I want to take it back all the way to the beginning.
Oof,
When you first started playing basketball, talk to me about your early childhood and what got you into basketball.
Yeah, so I think I started playing basketball when I was like 4 years old. I don't really know what really intrigued me into basketball. All I know is like my dad used to play, nothing like professional or nothing organized. He just like played outside, and in these little like tournaments called like Gus Smackers. I don't know if you ever heard of them, but it was like on a blacktop. You know, you get your team and you just play around the state or whatever. So I have this story that my mom used to tell me. Like, I was in a stroller and I was a kid and I was crying. And then, like, as soon as the game came on, like, tip off, I was like quiet. My head was going back and forth. I was following along. And then I think ever since then, I probably just fell in love with basketball. And then, like, I used to, when I was old enough to actually play, I used to wait for my dad to come home from work. And I ask him, like, can we go outside to go train and stuff like that? So that's kind of where it started.
That sounds like a whole lot like my experience with it too. I mean, I like my first love was football. I like started off playing flag football, and then my dad was really into basketball. So like same thing. He would get home from work, and I would like beg him to go outside and play. And it was just, I mean, that's a genuine start to the game. You know, it's nice when you have parents who are just there to support you through whatever you want to do and not kind of like force you in a direction. You kind of see that a little bit too often, and it's a little off-putting.
For sure.
But then like transitioning to when you started realizing like basketball is something that you could pursue as like a career or just something that you realized you were really good at. Like, talk to me about your journey into like AAU and then high school basketball, just a little bit about that.
Yeah. I think I started taking it serious probably around going into high school, and like the beginning or the end of freshman year when I finally got my offer. I think my first offer was from like Evansville, which is in Indiana. And so I think that's when I was like, okay, like I can probably do something with this. And ever since then, it's just been up. Like I said back before, like sacrifices. I didn't really go to a prom. I never went to any graduations because of basketball. I didn't have the typical, high school experience, I don't think, just because like I wasn't partying. I wasn't, going out here and there. I was always in the gym trying to focus on my craft and work on my craft. And yeah, that was pretty much it. Like, I think after my first scholarship, it was like, all right, let's take this on to another level and make this a career.
Yeah, for sure. So what was your AAU experience like? And like after you got that first offer, how soon did those offers start rolling in, and then you start getting like Power 5 offers and stuff like that?
Actually, I feel like my AAU experience was a little different, especially now in these days. I feel like these days it's like social media, highlight tapes, everything's popping, like
For
they're
real,
getting exposure on a whole different level. But I played for a local team in Indiana. I was never on an EYBL team or a Adidas team or a Puma team.
Yeah,
I was never
neither.
on one of those top teams, really.
Yeah.
So I'm a really loyal person. So I played for a local team called FBC. It started off as FBC and then ended up being Best Choice. And I mean, I just played. We was all in tournaments that all the other big teams were in, but like, I wasn't that big name yet until I got those offers. And then I think after like my freshman summer going into my sophomore year at the AAU time, that's when like all the schools started looking at me. And honestly, after that, I was like, I don't need to go to a Nike team because I already have the schools looking at me. Like, if you are
when you're playing against those teams and doing well, like yeah, you'll get it. Yeah.
And that's what I try to preach now, because I actually have an AAU team. Like, you don't have to go to a big team to get exposure. If you're doing what you got to do, people are gonna find you and people are gonna come watch you and play. And so like, my dad used to take pictures at all our games, and like the coaches were lined up on the courts and stuff like that. And it was just cool to see, because it was like, it wasn't no big EYBL team. It was just a local team from Indiana. And, I kind of brought that on.
Absolutely. Yeah, that I've talked about that on here before, but that's a whole lot like my AAU experience. I was on a local team my whole AAU career, but we had success like my last year of AAU, and we started playing against those big name teams with those big sponsored teams, and it would just naturally bring coaches to us. Even if they weren't looking at us, they would be forced to look at us. So I mean, if you're doing what you need to do, you're gonna get seen. So when did Coach Staley start looking at you? When did you start like noticing her pop up at your court?
No, actually, this is the real tea, actually. South Carolina honestly didn't start looking at me until my junior year. Like, I had a lot of offers, but like I said, I was a homebody, so I was like, I never knew where I wanted to commit. I didn't really want to go to college. I wanted to go to college, but I didn't want to leave home. And so, like, I was one of the people that, like, committed super, like, probably the last deadline possible. I remember, too, I was, taking my finals in school, and I was like, I'm going to commit. Forget it. So, like, after, like, one of my finals, forget it. It's all right. So, after one of my finals, I was like, all right, I'm gonna commit to South Carolina, and I just kind of called her and was like, "Hey, I'm committing," and that was that was it. But
that is so funny.
Literally, that's it. Like nonchalant and everything, like literally just like that. And then went to my next class and took a final. But
what? That's crazy. What was her reaction to that? Was she just like chill about it, or she was just like, okay?
She was excited. I feel like she was excited. I feel like she was excited. But
yeah, absolutely.
She only went to like 2 of my games, I believe, and Coach McCray was actually the one that was scouting me and like found me and then told Coach Don about me. So that's how that started. And it was history ever since then. Yeah.
Absolutely. That is a pretty unconventional story to how you got here. I bet. I mean, you had to be at the top of her radar because, I mean, she being recruited by Coach Staley as a point guard, she's one of the most prolific point guards and coaches of all time. So, like, that's a huge honor.
Fun fact, though, I had no clue. I had no clue who she was. Like, I honestly, like, okay, this is crazy, too. I didn't really watch women's basketball until I committed. Like, I don't even know why. Yeah, like, I wasn't, like, a big women's basketball player. Like, I didn't really have, like, a dream school. I didn't have, like, a person that I really looked up to. I kind of just went to the Indiana Fever games because they were in Indiana. And I was looking up to Tamika Catchings and stuff like that. But other than that, like, I didn't really watch women's basketball like that. And so, like, when I committed, everybody's congratulating me. And they're like, oh, Dawn Staley. I'm like, yeah, like, that's my coach. They was like, well, she's one of the best point guards, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, hold on, I got to do my research. Like,
let me Google her. Let me Google my coach. Right. That's so funny. Right. No, you literally, like, were just so nonchalant about your recruiting process. Like, you didn't do any research at all.
No.
Well, you took a good gamble. That's for sure.
Right. Yeah. And then there's like the even crazier part too is like I was one of those kids that like did not want to talk like on the like when they had to call us and stuff like that in like the live periods. I did not want to call any of the coaches. So like my dad had to make a spreadsheet for me like every day of like which team I'm gonna call, which whatever. And every time like it got to a voicemail and they didn't answer, I was so happy. I was like, yes.
You're like,
check that out.
That's so funny. Oh my gosh. Well, it sounds like everything just aligned perfectly for you to get to South Carolina.
Yeah.
So then you get there. What are some of your most earliest memories of South Carolina?
What is
or just like, you said what?
No, I'm trying to think. My earliest memories. It's been a while.
Just well, you can talk about like the transition from high school to college. Some things that you weren't really expecting. Do you remember like your first practice, for example? I know that's something that kind of sticks out to a lot of people. It can be a little bit of a kick in the teeth.
I mean, I feel like the obvious is like the physicality and the speed of everything. I felt honestly, what I was surprised is like you're doing the same drills you do every other day, like in high school or growing up. I felt like it was going to be like something totally different, but like honestly, you do the same drills, it's just at a different speed and a different pace.
Right.
So I feel like that was the biggest like shocker to me, but also it was probably when she made a decision to start me after Christmas break.
Yeah. Yeah, I wanted to talk about that because,
Yeah,
that's a big deal. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about that and like how that conversation went. What was your mindset during that time when you're receiving that information? I mean, that's a lot of pressure as a freshman. I mean, like, how did you navigate that?
Yeah, so we didn't really talk about it beforehand. Like I said, we was on Christmas break, and then like we got back, and you had that typical meeting, and then we had practice. That crazy long practice that you have to get back from the break.
Yes,
So like
sure
we're
do.
having our film session. We're having our film session, and she's like, "Hey, like we're gonna change some things up." So I'm just thinking like, what is she about to say right now? And she's like, just thinking about the starting lineup, blah 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 blah. I think I'm gonna start Ty in this next starting lineup. And I'm just like, me?
Huh?
Huh?
Right.
Come again? So
Literally.
and that was interesting too, because like at that time it was like Bianca Cuevas, she was starting, and like she's the athlete she is herself, and the player she is herself.
Crazy.
It was crazy, yeah. So and then I was in with like Asia Wilson and Alicia Gray, Kayla Davis, Elena Coates, and like all these All-Americans. I'm just like, well, I'm just now starting. Shoot,
Right.
So
Right.
we get to practice, and like now she's saying, how she'd be like starting five, like she'll say whoever the point guard is, like that group go out. So she was like, Tyasha group go out, and I'm like, oh no, we're serious. This is the real deal now. Like I'm in here. So that was the biggest thing for her.
That's pretty cool. So like then you transition to games. Talk to me a little bit about that. I mean, like you kind of you've got some weight on you a little bit, like being that young. Like you said, you're surrounded by all these like seasoned, and maybe not vets at this point, but All-Americans.
Right.
They've been in college longer than you have. Talk to me about that and kind of how they helped mentor you in that space, or just like what was going through your head at that time.
Yeah, I feel like they were really good at accepting me and letting me learn, and just instilling confidence in me every day. I mean, I feel like I had it pretty easy, Like I said, I was playing with All-Americans who could put the ball in the basket, so all I had to do was put them in the right spots and facilitate. And I think that's where like the whole true point guard came about, because it was like I knew the X's and O's. I was on my P's and Q's, calling the right plays, and they obviously made me look good. I mean, anywhere I put the ball, they was gonna score. And that was just the biggest thing, because also too was like I was the first freshman that she started in her whole entire coaching career.
Really? I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. Like, I didn't even know that either. I thought, like, Asia Wilson started, but she came off the bench her freshman year. So, like, that was, like, the big thing, because it was, like, this is the first she ever started as a freshman. So, I know it had a lot of weight, but like I said, my teammates were doing a great job of just helping me and just giving me the confidence that I needed to be that point guard.
Yeah, definitely. Are there any like stories or just like memories that stick out in particular to you that year? I mean, aside from, of course, winning a national championship, but just like during that season, are there any memories that stick out to you that you would be honestly, willing to share?
Yeah, I won't go into too much details, but like that season was not as perfect as you would think it would have been after like winning the national championship. Like, I think teams go through adversity that a lot of people don't know, and that year was a lot. I mean, you know those meetings with Felicia and Johnny, like those 3-hour, 4-hour meetings. We had that probably 3 times that season.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Those are intense too.
Yes.
Those are intense. Oh my gosh. Wow.
In that first meeting, I promise you, I think like majority of the team was crying. Like it was very vulnerable. Like we just kind of like laid it all out on the table, honestly. And I think that was like the biggest thing, because it's like we won a national championship, but like that season was really hard to get to that point.
Yeah, those meetings are crazy, and like you do one, and you start crying, and you're like, okay, why am I crying? Like, what the heck, right? And then you go into the other ones, and you're like, all right, I'm not gonna cry this time, and then you still end up crying, like without fail. Those meetings will do it to you, but they definitely bring us together closer as a team.
Closer, for sure,
and make us better. I mean, but our teams, I feel like, naturally already have so much chemistry,
Right.
Just like in my experience, but like those meetings definitely like solidify and help bring us up to that other level of, like you
Sure.
said, emotional vulnerability. So, but 3 is a lot. 3 is
Yeah,
definitely a
no,
lot in one
3 was
season.
a lot. I'm like, all right, are we having like therapy session now? Like,
No,
we gotta go
literally.
to like couples therapy and team therapy. Yeah, no,
Right.
it was crazy.
And then you make it to the NCAA tournament. Talk to me
Yeah.
about like how that progression was as you like kind of you reflecting, looking back, transitioning through the tournament. You're winning games. You're like, okay, like
Mhm.
we could really do something here. Like, talk to me about what was going on in your head during that time.
Yeah, it was fun. I mean, I have never been a part of nothing that big and that crazy, honestly. Like, it was in Dallas too, which was a great place. Like, we had this little showdown barbecue thing before like the whole thing went down. My parents got to come up and like it was fun just being in the Final Four. I remember we were playing Stanford and we were losing majority of the game, and then like I think the end of the third to the fourth, like we ended up turning the page and we won. And then watching UConn and who was it? Who beat them?
Mississippi
Mississippi
State.
State. Yeah, that
Crazy. That
was
was a crazy
crazy
game. I
too.
remember
That
watching
was
that. Yeah.
crazy. We was watching it at halftime. Like we stayed there after the game and watched it until halftime. Then we go back to the hotel and like we're watching it in the hotel. And honestly, I'm sorry to say, Mississippi State, if anybody watching from Mississippi State, when y'all won that game, I'm like, oh yeah, we're winning the national championship. I'm sorry.
Yes,
We're winning
literally,
it.
literally.
We're winning it.
That's how we felt. That's how we felt junior year when UConn beat Stanford in Minnesota.
Facts.
We were like,
yeah,
all right,
it's in
yeah.
there. We're gonna
It's
give you that
reps.
back. But honestly, it was because we played Mississippi State 3 times before then, like for the regular
Right,
season.
that's right. Y'all,
For
yes,
the SEC,
so much.
like it was just like it just bound to happen. And we beat them all them
Yeah.
times, so we're like, we're gonna beat them again when it matters.
Right.
So yeah.
And I mean, Coach always says that it's hard to beat a team 2 times, but
yeah,
it's
yeah.
really hard to beat a team 3 and 4 times. So
Yeah.
y'all's ability to do that, that was incredible.
Yeah,
Definitely.
no, it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And then transitioning to your other seasons after that, I read somewhere that you said that you kind of felt like the baby on each of those teams that you were
Yeah.
on up until your senior year, where you're in this like parental role kind of
Right,
to
right.
these 5 freshmen, 3 of which are
Right.
starters. Like, talk
Right.
to me about that. Talk to me about that transition.
No, yeah, that was crazy because usually I am the younger one, the way my birthday lays. Like I could be in a grade lower than me. So like I was always the youngest one until, you guys came about. You guys little crazy freshies came about, and
gosh.
it was fun. I mean,
we
honestly,
were not crazy. We were the most
come on
chill
now. Come on. Come on now. What story are we gonna
Nah.
tell about that one? Nah. But
you tell me. This is your show.
it was probably, honestly, to be honest, that was probably one of the best seasons and the funnest seasons I had at South Carolina. And like you guys came in with a lot of rah behind y'all for sure. And I think that was what made it great too, because like Dawn, she was before you guys, she was more strict. We couldn't have our phones, we couldn't be on social media, and then
Right.
all of a sudden, my senior year, you guys get all this clout and whatnot, and now we get to have Snapchat and Instagram. I'm like, yeah, like what else can they bring?
Right. We get verified checks on Instagram. It was like, what now?
Facts, what else?
Right. That was hilarious. And because the year prior was a little bit shaky
Yes.
for y'all, that
Yes.
2018, 2019 season. So
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
yeah.
That one
Tell me
was-
about, yeah. Yeah, we don't have to get into it too much, but I mean
Right.
that year was extremely pivotal for
Yeah.
I mean you guys and the program.
Yeah.
And then transitioning into that class, your senior year, it probably felt like a little bit of a breath of fresh air in a sense.
Honestly, yeah. Like we won't go too deep into it. You know what it is, but it was pivotal. I mean, going into my senior year, a lot of people were transferring out. One of my best friends, Kiki, who I was, my ride or die, my roommate,
gosh,
my
yes.
everything, she was about to leave, and I was kind of like the only person that was staying to the next year. And I remember, I feel like we had a workout, and it was just like me, and then Victoria and Destiny, and then your class. Like, it was just like only a handful of us working out, and like and everybody else that was transferring weren't there.
None of your
and I'm
people,
just like,
because how
yeah,
many
and I'm
people
like,
were in your How many people were in your freshman class, like initially?
4.
Do you remember? 4?
Yeah, 4.
And
Because we was in that
then you're
quad.
left, and then it was just you. At that point, it was just one.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Well, even and there was some that was juniors and sophomores that were transferring out too. So it was like literally just me in there with you guys coming in, and Destiny and Victoria. So it was weird, but you know, Kiki came back. Thank God. Thank God for that one. But yeah, it was crazy. But you guys coming in and, like I said, bringing new energy, bringing new life was everything.
Yeah, there was definitely a lot of controversy around that season, especially coming in as a freshman. I just remember like seeing players dropping like flies. And it's like, we're already committed, like papers are signed, like we're coming there regardless. Yeah. And there's just like, there's rumors flying around about like why they're leaving and stuff. And you're just like, all right, well, we're here now, so we just got to see what happens.
Exactly. And then I was in that leadership role too. So it was kind of like, you know, I was part of that, like, captain and all that other stuff, and I'm just like, oh, now it's gonna look real bad. So like, yeah, just thank you guys for, you know, sticking it out, playing the course, and just believing in like our tradition in South Carolina in general, and just you, honestly, Big O, like, what your story. I know this is not about you, but your story is amazing for me because I actually saw it like transpire, like you going into camp, and then like I remember I literally remember you. I'm like, yo, I'm talking to my team. I'm like, yo, she's here like 2 hours early sweating right now, like before camp even starts. Like, that's dedication. Like, that's crazy. And then you come and you playing and stuff. Yeah, that was amazing.
I appreciate that, Ty. Yeah, no, it was really cool how the cards fell and I ended up getting to South Carolina. But one of the best experiences of my life. I mean, we wouldn't be here right now, you know? So everything happened the way it was supposed to. But no, that freshman year for me was a whole lot of fun. And something I like to talk about within that year was the St. Thomas tournament. That was like, and I had Molly on here, my first episode, and we were talking about that game that we lost to Indiana and the practice afterwards and how they didn't give us those Subway sandwiches. I think that's something that's just
iconic right there.
Sits with everybody.
Yeah, that was one of the most iconic moments, events, and memories all of the above. One, because we lost to Indiana, my home state. Like, I'm like, of course, out of everybody, we lose to Indiana. Boom, there's that. Then the whole, like, us going back and forth, like, Dom, she tells the story all the time, like, how we were beefing kind of, like, in the film session where, like, she was going in on me, like, literally just going in on me. And I'm like, dang, like, I gotta take this. Like, it is what it is. I gotta take this. Take it on the chin. And then we get to practice, and practice wasn't that hard. Like, it wasn't nothing crazy, but it was like, all right, like, we're hungry. We're not eating nothing really on this island. Like,
it's hot.
We're hungry.
There's no AC in this gym. Right.
There's nothing. Like, we're going, we're practicing. We just lost. We just took an L. Like, we're trying to have good vibes. And she comes in with these Subway sandwiches. I'm going over. All right, bet. Let's see. Where's my name? Wait, it's the staff. It's the practice players. It's the coaches. Where's ours?
Where's our sandwiches, huh? Like,
and she comes out talking about, I ain't getting no sandwiches. What? And they had smoothies for us, some like healthy smoothies for us.
And they were like this big too.
And
that was so funny.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah. Definitely got us through the rest of that tournament, though. That Baylor game was something else.
What? That Baylor game was lit. Yeah, that was fun. That was real fun. And that being the start of the season, and, you know, seeing Aaliyah's family and just how everything just played out. Like, it was just perfect, and seeing just great vibes. Yeah. And we got dubs. So, and it was, honestly, let's just talk about it. Like I said, we lose to Indiana, my home state. We're in Aaliyah's home, you know. We play Baylor, who smacked us the year before. In
the Sweet 16.
Yeah, smacked us.
Right? Yeah. Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
You got old teammates on Baylor, Let's talk about that. And then how
Right.
about just like the ending of that game? Like the way it played out,
Crazy.
everybody had an L, right? So, but we had to win by 13 or 14, whatever the total point count was. And I didn't know, like at the end of the game, I didn't know we had to make like a basket to get to that mark. Cause like if we would have like won, but like didn't make that point margin or whatever, we still would have came in
Exactly.
third
Then,
place.
wow. I had
You
forgotten about
didn't
that.
know that?
That was,
Yeah.
well, I knew it, but I have totally forgotten about like
Yeah.
how big of a deal it was.
But like, I don't even know if you remember like the whole like last thing. So like he blocked the shot and it was like probably 5 seconds left. And like I got the rebound and like I'm starting to celebrate. Like we're winning. Like, yeah. And but all I see is like CJ and like Don like waving me like go.
Like,
So I'm just like,
go. Yes.
like, yeah, I'm like, all right, what do you guys? I'm like, all right, maybe I got to make it over half court before they call like a turnover or something. So
Right.
like, I'm
Like, this
dribbling
is out of
really hard.
character.
Right. I'm dribbling really hard past half court. Then I'm like, all right, I'm gonna throw the ball up. But then I see them like still jumping, like go. I'm like, you guys want me to score this bucket? Like we're up 12. Like that's not in your character, like just to run up the score. So I'm like, all right, whatever.
Literally.
She's telling me to go. Like maybe 2 seconds left. So I lay it up. Boom. We're going crazy. Everybody's on the court. We still had 2 seconds.
Yes.
One, that could have been a technical, and they could have shot a free throw because we're like 2 seconds left in the game.
Because what are we doing right now?
We're on the court. But then like they was like, we had to score that bucket to like get the first place, or it like we would have gotten third. So like it was just crazy how all that happened because like it happened in 5 seconds. I almost didn't score that bucket. Like. Right. Just craziness, really. Just
all this is happening in real time too. Like real time, right. You're just like all these thoughts are going. That's crazy. Right. No, that was so much fun. And then they had all the dancers out on the court afterwards. And they had the music blasting. That was so much fun. Yeah, and that was like my class is like first taste of like some real victory. So it's like that's like we can really do something here. Yeah. And then, I mean, I hate to get all grim, but we get through that season and we make it through the SEC tournament, end up winning the SEC tournament. And then we go to spring break and it's like news updates. We're talking about the Final Four in New Orleans. It's like, okay, like limited capacity to friends and family only, to no fans at all, to only like, and then no tournament, nothing is over.
Nothing.
And we're all gone.
No
and
closure.
We're all gone. Like we're not no closure at all. Like we're home. We're home. Like it's over.
Chilling.
Crazy.
Chilling.
Yeah.
No, that was crazy.
Not chilling though. Not chilling
really,
at all
honestly,
though, actually.
Honestly, like not.
What was that like for you? Like, because I mean that's your senior year.
Yeah.
I mean the only thing that's next is the WNBA, and it's just over like that. Like talk to me about that. I don't feel like we ever got to talk about that.
I mean, we started we were on a high. Like we're the number one team. We won the SC tournament. Like everybody's happy that we actually get a break. Let's tell it. Let's be for real. Like if we didn't win, we don't get a break. We don't get a spring break. So she gave us 4 days or whatever, 4 or 5 days, and like that's all I had. I had a suitcase full of clothes because I'm thinking I'm going back to South Carolina after my 4 or 5 days.
Of course, yeah.
I think it was the night before or the day before we had to go back to school is when everything started shut down. And I remember actually in our group chat, we're like, you think that like we're going to get shut down? Like we're talking amongst ourselves, like you guys think this is not going to happen? Like what's tea? Because like I think they shut down like D2, then they shut down like baseball and like football, and then like the NBA shut down. And it was like we still really wasn't like sure if we was going to get shut down. And the news came out and they shut us down, and I don't even know. Like, I kind of was still optimistic of like, okay, like they're just gonna shut it down for maybe a week or so, and then like we're gonna come back and figure something out. And no, that wasn't it. And and I think after that, like just getting the messages from you guys and Don just telling us like we can't go back to campus until like May or something was like kind of just reality setting in. Like the season's over, and like I said, like we didn't have no closure. Like I didn't get to say goodbye to you guys. I didn't get to say goodbye to the training staff, Molly, coaches, nobody. And that was the craziest part of it all, because it's like we come back of just from a high to thinking we're gonna come back to school, and then participating in March Madness, and they just couldn't do it. And that was the craziest of all.
It was very hard. And I remember, cause I mean, like you said, y'all only had like a suitcase with a little bit of clothes, and me and my mom actually went down to 650 and like got the staff to let us in y'all's rooms and stuff to like pack up clothes. I remember going to Zaya's room, packing up clothes for her, to, like mail to her. We ended up mailing people like boxes full of clothes because no one could come back and no one had any things at home. But we ended up, I don't remember how, but we ended up getting in you and Kiki's room. And I mean, you guys still had like senior night stuff up. You had flowers from senior night. And it's like,
everything.
It was just eerie. Like it just didn't feel right at all. And it wasn't, but I mean, it was just, it was such a shock that it was just done like that.
Yeah. And that is the crazy, but blessing as well. Like senior night, we actually did get to go through that, but it was like also bad because it was like we were fortunate enough to have our first round back in CLA. So like it wasn't going to be our last time, but it was our last time. So it's just crazy how we kind of had a mini celebration, not knowing like that was going to be the end.
Exactly. And I mean, we were on track to win that thing. Like,
man,
oh my
what?
gosh.
Say it again. Oh, say it again for everybody in the back, for everybody close up.
There is no way, because everyone's talking about Oregon and South Carolina. Y'all really think that was going to be a game? Come on now.
Yeah, we were playing the best basketball at the perfect time. Nah, they wouldn't have touched us. I'm sorry. Even with Sabrina Satu and all them, sorry, y'all wouldn't have touched us.
Nah. And they were talking too much. They were talking too much smack. You think you can talk smack and we're not going to win?
And on
come
Twitter?
on.
Now
have y'all not seen?
Now, come on out.
Yes.
Come on out.
Right. Exactly. Oh my gosh. Nah, but then the WNBA draft is like right around the corner at this point. Yeah. So you got to start like getting back in the gym for that, getting prepared for that, and then you ended up getting picked 7th overall to Dallas. Am I correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. So talk to me about that transition. I mean, there's a lot going on in your head. Like you said, you didn't get any closure.
Yeah.
You're getting drafted, and it's still in the middle of COVID. Like we're talking about the WNBA season. Like the world is shut down right now. You know what I mean? Like the draft is televised via Zoom. Like what? It was just crazy. I mean, the world is in just like a completely Tell me about that.
I mean, honestly, give it up to ESPN and like the whole production of getting that off and pulling it off and being able to actually kind of still feel like it's a special night. Obviously, like it's unfortunate we didn't get to go to, New York City and sit at the tables and do all that extra stuff, but they actually made it a great thing of like sending a podcast and TV and living up, like you said, Zoom to the people that they thought was going to go first round. And they helped us like prop it, set it up, and make sure like when it went live, like we were live with it and you get to see everybody. But honestly, that draft was crazy because I didn't have no clothes. Like stores were still closed down. Like I was trying to order dresses and outfits off of Amazon and not knowing if they're gonna fit, not knowing like if it was gonna be perfect. Like Amazon, come on now.
Right.
So I had ordered like 4 or 5 different things off of Amazon. I think only 2 came. None of it fit. I was like, oh, this is gonna be crazy. I'm about to sit in the Nike jumpsuit at this point. Like, forget it.
Literally.
What a time. I'm about to go right with a Nike Tech. So actually, Target was open at this time, and that morning I went, just find like a little blazer, a little dress pants, and kind of threw something together, and it actually came out fire. So thank God to, Target being open right then and there, and just the people around me that helping me, and my friend who did my makeup and stuff like that. So they made it great. And what a special night. I mean, I got to spend it with my family at home. A couple people came over, and Kiki got drafted 6, and then me back to 7. Like it was just perfect. Everything was just perfect, honestly.
So then you make it to the WNBA, and you come off a career where you're a starter for 3.5 years, and then suddenly I think you started like 3 games your rookie season. Just tell me a little bit about that transition. I mean, that can be a lot, especially like you're coming off a lot of success, you're coming off a huge season, and then you're kind of like at a pause a little bit as far as like what you're used to in basketball. So tell me about that.
It was interesting, like you said, coming from being one of the best from high school to playing in South Carolina with a lot of great players and still having that success of being a starter and being dominant and being one of the important pieces to the WNBA. I mean, it's a blessing in itself, just, making it to a place that I always wanted when I was a little girl. Starting at 4, this was my lifelong dream. So making it was always a blessing. And that's kind of where I just hung my hat on of just, there's only 144 girls in this entire world who gets to be in this place. So me not starting wasn't really a big thing because it's like, hey, I made it to something that is very low statistic,
Very hard. Yes.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I just hung my hat on and just everything. It was tough at times, obviously, because, you want to be the best. You want to be a part of something that's great and you want to be talked about. But everybody's journey is different. And I just try to stay in the present moment of whatever it was. And I feel like just now I'm actually getting my opportunity of just being the player that I am and getting the opportunity of showing my skills and being in that role that I want to be in.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk to me a little bit more about that, that resilience and going through that adversity. Each year is something different. But each year you're building upon yourself. I mean, this year you were a starter. Your team had a lot of success. Tell me a little bit about what you do mentally for yourself and what goes on behind the scenes to get you higher and higher each year.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. There is a lot of lows that comes with this journey and this job that we have. So I'm not gonna hide from the fact that I've had days where I cried myself to sleep, cried to my family, cried to my people. I had days where I was gonna give up and say I'm not going to work. And still got myself up and went to work. But I have a group of people. I have just a close-knit circle that keeps me going, keep me motivated, keep me confident, keep me in the gym in the right mind. And I started doing a lot of mental work, meditating, just writing down your goals, affirmations before the game, speaking it out loud, speaking stuff into existence. I feel like your tongue and the word of the mouth is very powerful. And whatever you speak is whatever your reality will be. So a lot of that stuff is just what I hang my hat on now, especially because, I feel like everybody has the physical capabilities to do what they need to do in the WNBA, but a lot of it's just lack of confidence and mental stuff. So as long as your mental is straight, I feel like you can get through anything.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely agree on the power of the tongue and, speaking positively, but not only just positivity, but being very specific in what you're saying and working towards. So that's definitely very powerful. And then this last season with the Connecticut Sun, you were a starter pretty much the whole season. You joined the team in January of 23. So ever since you got there, you were a starter. And your team made it to the finals. Or not the finals, but the tournament. Semi, yeah, I know. Talk to me a little bit about that.
No, it's really hard to get there. Great teams, great players, and it's a series. It's a game series, and you go against one of those teams that we always play against. And Minnesota was a team this year was rocking and rolling. Honestly, they won the in-season tournament, and they were just a really good team, really hard-nosed team, disciplined team that gave us a run for our money. And even last year, when New York was who won it this year, that was a team that was really good with great pieces and great superstars. And it's just really fun just to be in that moment because a lot of people don't get to be in that moment. And I was lucky enough and fortunate enough each year I was in the playoffs. I didn't start off, missing the playoffs or anything with Dallas. We made the playoffs. We lost the first round, but at least we made it to the playoffs. And it's just fun just to have those milestones and achievements within just the WNBA because it is hard to get to the finals or the semifinals or wherever step you get to.
Absolutely. And you're only in your 4th year. What is it?
Yeah.
Or was this? Yeah. So, you're still extremely early in your career.
Right.
A lot of people don't have a taste of success like that early on. So that's definitely very positive. And it seems like you're a really good fit with Connecticut, and you were
Appreciate that,
very, yeah, of course. But you're just an incredible point guard, and I mean, just reminiscing back on your career at South Carolina. I mean, we couldn't have asked for a better leader in you and Kiki, but you especially. You know, I feel like we modeled our behavior around you, like so much. It's like when Ty was goofy, we would be goofy. When Ty was locked in, we would lock in. It was like mother duck kind of thing.
That's so cute.
So yeah. No, for real.
Like, even now, like I feel like my journey was great for just, you know, Zaya and Aaliyah and Victoria and their journey in the WNBA too, because everybody's journey is different. Like Aaliyah, you know, she was the #1 pick, so she got a little different stardom and press than everybody else. But like even this year, like she had a little rough patch where people were downing her and saying different stuff about her, even though she was the #1 pick the year before. So it's like everybody goes through their own journey and adversity, and I'm just happy that I got to be there and give them word, advice, and stuff like that. And especially with Zaya, I think somebody ended up taking a video after we played LA, and we were like hugged and talking to each other, just like speaking life into each other. And it's just great to see, you know, we're always going to have that sisterhood, and I'm going to always be there for you guys whenever you guys need it.
Definitely. No, that's a very special thing about our program in particular. I think this is something I've talked about with Kayla and Markeisha. It's just, it's so special. I mean, the relationship that we have with players who are playing for coach, like her first years or like her years way before we were even on the team. Like it's very special to have that community. And like you said, that sisterhood, it's very important. And I mean, it's a unbreakable bond for sure. So I mean,
really, honestly.
Yeah. So before we wrap up, I like to ask each of my guests two questions, two of the same questions. I like to keep it consistent each show. Right. So the first one is, what is the best piece of advice you've ever received, or what is a piece of advice you would want to share to others?
Let's see. I probably want to say, I received this, and this is something I would definitely share, is kind of just go back to the mental part of everything, because I feel like life is mental. You know, it's just stay present in the moment. It just goes back to COVID as well. You never know what can happen. Don't take anything for granted, and if you stay present in the moment, you know, you enjoy life differently. And, you know, and whatever you think your reality is whatever it can be. And so dream big, dream so big that people think that you're crazy. Let them think that. And whatever you put your mind to, it will be, and your reality will prove it.
I wholeheartedly agree. I think that's something that I kind of live my life a little bit by, because I mean, you do create your own reality, and your mind, what you're imagining in your head, and how you're perceiving the world is how it'll be. So you might as well do it big, right? So then the second question I have is, if you weren't a basketball player, what would you be doing?
Ooh, if I wasn't a basketball player, what would I be doing? See, I get this question a lot too, because it's like, oh, what are you going to do after the basketball stop? And I'm just like, well, I'm not going to work a 9 to 5. That's one thing I can't do. I got to be myself boss. So I'd probably be like a different athlete, honestly. Like I used to run track in high school, so maybe a track star, maybe an entrepreneur doing something else other than, you know, getting told what to do or when to wake up and stuff like that.
Right.
So yeah,
I'm definitely with you on that. That 9 to 5 is not for me. Not for me at all.
Can't do it.
Nah. Well, Ty, it was very great having you on. It was nice to have a little reminiscing session and kind of hear about how you're doing now. And it was always great to talk to you. So I wish you the best in China. Can't wait to follow you through that. And good luck with the rest of your career. And
Thank you.
When will I see you again?
It.
Are you going to be coming to Columbia anytime? Do you know?
Actually, our season should end probably like end of February, beginning of March, maybe. So maybe I'll make it to, you know, one of the tournaments, March Madness tournaments, and maybe your first game. It might pop up here and there, you know. Did you go to the Final Four last year?
No. I didn't get to go. I know I'm sick. Whoa. Look at that. No, I didn't get to go. But this year, I know, right? This year, I'm definitely going to go.
It's in Tampa, right?
It is in Tampa.
Oh, let's not speak too soon about it, but, you know, I'm knock on wood. I might see you in Tampa.
For real. Yes. All right. Well, that sounds great. I hope you have a great night, 13 hours ahead. Thank you for coming on. And
thank you.
We'll see you next
for
time.
Having me.
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you.
Bye.